Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and it's an exciting time for the channel right now as we start a brand new chapter in Brick Nottingham's history, moving to the larger Lego room in the old garage of Robin Hood Towers. But before we do any of that move and start breaking up this very beautiful city, I think it'd be a real honour to give it a full tour to explore all of the wonderful builds, all the fun we've had over these last few years, and all of the lovely scenes, signs and everything else that have given us so much entertainment. It's been over 600 videos on this journey, and it's not just been a journey in bricks, it's definitely been a journey for me since I first said, "Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here." I have grown a great deal myself as a person, as a builder, and I've gained a lot of friends actually. The community and all of the support that you've given me have been, well, life-changing quite frankly, so long may it continue. I absolutely adore running my channel now. It's given a whole new dimension to my life and my hobby, so thank you all for all of that. Right, enough gushing, let's get on with a lovely tour. Well, where better to start our tour than from Brick Bay, the name I give to the first standing hole, representing the body of water around which this side of the city is based. And it's my favourite spot in the entire Lego room to stand because you're completely immersed in the city, surrounded as you are on all sides by builds, scenes, minifigures, and it can be quite daunting to a new visitor to the city to see this level of detail all around them, from the subway train system down below to the space station stuck to the ceiling, aircraft coming out of the walls, suggesting the city goes off in every direction. And every time you look around a corner, you see something new, a new scene, somewhere else to explore, much like in a real city. And it's that sort of depth that I think is the most important thing about my city, how I try and design it to have layer upon layer and really pull you into that level of detail. I mean, a view like this is just fantastic, starting right the way down here on the beach with its buildings, going up vertically to the boardwalk and its row of modulars, full train station hidden behind that for you to peer over and examine with its tram links and subway system entrance, then over the road to another row of buildings, and even then there's still plenty to see in the distance to the roller coaster and the bank and so on. And yeah, it just pulls you in and makes you think this is a real city with so much more to explore. So this is definitely the thing that I want to continue when I get to the new Lego room, have this depth going in every direction, but that will allow me to do even more. Oh look, a bus station, a botanical garden, a big news building with a bent sign. Yeah, it just goes on and looks absolutely fantastic. And that's why I try and incorporate the walls as much as I do in these half facade buildings, really to give the impression that the city doesn't stop at the walls of the Lego room but continues on and on. It's also a really good device to use for big features like airports, where you can have the front of the terminal building but not worry about all of the massive amount of space you'd need for runways and so on. Just do the main bit and suggest it goes off into another part of the city not shown by the Lego room. So yeah, facades on absolutely all sides. And that just gives that depth a real tangible feel, if you ask me. Right, well, I reckon today we should go around in a lot of detail and kind of pick out some of my favourite builds, my favourite scenes, and things that I'm very proud of having built. So yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to start at the harbour. The harbour remains one of my favourite areas just because, well, when I was designing it, I thought I want absolutely loads of cranes in this place to make it look super busy, and that's what I've achieved. Also wanted loads of boats as well and containers, but yeah, it is a look that is unmistakably a busy harbour port. So I love that a great deal. And the tall things continue along that front line here with our motorised Coast Guard helicopter and our recoloured lighthouse. And that is using tall things at the very front of a scene again, so you have to kind of peer around under and over them to see everything else. And I think that makes it look super interesting. And I've tried to use the wall as much as possible, all the way from this corner, where we start our container wall with these criminals breaking into one for the SSP, all the way past our sardine factory, which has got one of my famous silly scenes in it. Why have a sardine factory when you could have a sardine factory being broken into by some very hungry penguins, a gang stealing all of the delicious content? So yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of my top 3 for this area. Possibly also in the top 3 is this subscriber idea, actually, of a broken container leaking rubber ducks into the harbour water. So that's really good. Some Duplo bricks there as part of a container. And yeah, that's another thing that I really like to do in my city, is use as many different lines as I can, whether it's an adventurer's zeppelin in the skies above or an El Dorado fortress. I mean, there's no reason why you can't have an imperial fortress or a castle in your city. You just have to adapt it and maybe make it into a tourist destination or something like that. And this crane shows the fact that we've got that difference in height here as well. Much higher is all of the train tracks, city level, than the sea level here, and even the quaysides, with a road going off into the distance, getting rid of that problem with bridging the 2 different heights together. You know, that's another suggestion that the city continues off into the distance. And then we've got some lovely warehouse buildings as well. This one includes the building of a mech to destroy Brick Nottingham, made by the evil Dr. Inferno. That's still under construction, so I'll probably beat him to destroying this city when we move to the new Lego room. And I suppose it's a good time while we're here to look at the open-sided train shed, because wherever possible, I try and open up my buildings, because I find that when you look at a modular, you really can't see inside it because it's enclosed and very dark. So wherever possible, I will have an open back building, or say a scene like this where you can see a man ducking for the train in the maintenance pit, or all of the wonderful tools in here. That looks absolutely great. What a fantastic scene. So yeah, I really like all of my fishing boats coming in. The shrimp boat from the Hidden Side series, the seagulls kind of trying to feast on the haul from this normal fisher boat, and a seal as well tucking in. Containers in the air, visible play features. I do like Lego to look like Lego. And even my Lego DB Cooper on his parachute, supported as it is by a half planet, all Lego in here, who's just jumped out of one of our wide body planes, being escorted by a police one above. Rocket on the wall, space station. Now, we did have a sweepstake at what date this would fall off the ceiling, and it hasn't, so yeah, no winner there. But that looks absolutely great. That's something I'm going to extend and redo in the new Lego room. Make it much bigger, much more likely to fall, presumably. And yeah, my sky is absolutely full. That's the second big plane. Skydiver's over there. Third big plane. Fourth big plane. Fifth big plane. Absolutely loads. Now, you ask any serious fan of Lego what they most like about the hobby, and a good proportion of them will tell you it's collecting interesting pieces and using them in novel ways. There's nothing more I like than collecting all of the pieces together for something like this old dive vessel, but then giving it a new set of cargo, a new captain with a novel pipe build, maybe a printed tile, and why not crown it with a lovely vintage Armada flag. I really like collecting single rails for building girder bridges from, maybe an old kind of kiddie elephant head for an elephant in transit to the circus, maybe a 3D base plate for a sandbar underneath the bridge, or a slipway to be incorporated with a much more modern Coast Guard station that bridges the level from sea with this lovely little cannon emplacement to the cargo area. And this is another one of my obsessions, I suppose. Not just interesting parts, but loads and loads of stickered parts. And they can really make an area like this much more colourful and interesting with all those different cargo boxes on display. I think my favourite is definitely Indiana Jones securing the Ark of the Covenant there on a facade truck coming out of the wall, presumably to put it somewhere more safe. But we've also got scenes for somebody sloping off work to play an arcade game in transit, or even a vampire with his teddy bear awakening and probably burning in the sunlight, presumably. So yeah, this is a lovely area, bridging the city to the trains to the sea level as well. Lovely. Now, another wonderful part of a LEGO City is including all the different modes of transport, from helicopters to hovercraft, from airplanes to submarines, and everything in between. And the motorised builds are no exception, with the surface trains, the elevated trams, and my favourite, the subway train. Absolutely great. And we don't waste any space in the city on the cross sections, whether it's Schmeagol there, hiding, eating a fish, or it's the underground bathrooms, with the ladies' one looking absolutely pristine and lovely, and the plumber being called to the leaking, smashed up, overflowing and broken boys' bathroom. And that was the least of their worries, really, because there's a huge poop monster next door about to bash through the wall. But yeah, I love all those scenes. Well, there's the plumber's van and the entrance down into that subway system. And this run of shops has some of my favourite features. The 3D sign that is the Yeti from the Orient Expedition set. Yes, that is Lego, the video game and TV store. What LEGO City would be complete without a LEGO store of its own, and the ever-expanding collection of brick people, with Mr. Green bringing the coffees, and the pet store. Now, that's one of my favourite builds, just because of the hilarious concept of all of the pets escaping out of the air conditioning unit and out of holes in the wall, and some of them have been living in the River Trent for quite a while and have grown to a size, a life-threatening size. Then we've got the marina, with the donut store, complete with play feature, the bike shop, and Old Market Square, which I just adore, with its tiny little changes in brick height. Just those 3 little steps all around the perimeter there, just representing 1 brick height of change, and a ramp there with the Deliveroo driver. And it just makes all the difference. You can have the skateboarder running down it, and yeah, it just adds so much contrast and interest to a city. So I absolutely love that. Then we've got the first of many, many, many coffee chain outlets that dot around the city, making the joke that there's just far too many coffee vendors in real life. And then all of our other scenes. And this is one of my favourite areas for the multi-layered sort of city, with the water level and the quayside, with the rungs up being climbed by this swimmer, and then the different wooden areas around the marina shop, and then the row of shops behind that, and then the row of modulars behind that, and then the facades behind that. So it really gives that depth again. Very good indeed. More 3D signs, another one of my addictions, and an incorporation of the lovely Ninjago boat into a floating restaurant. So that's the Destiny's Bounty, with all those lovely tiles for different Chinese treats. Very nice indeed. I love that build as well. Then similar restaurant, but quite different in geography, is the Italian restaurant, City Pizza, with its very al fresco dining, pizza oven on the inside and all the rest of it, and a very surprise guest of Raphael, surprising this guy with the delivery with his appearance out of the manhole cover that is above the turtle there. Very nice indeed. And that isn't currently lit, but can be quite easily, because they've tapped into the energy grid for their lighting. And that is why the Vestas wind turbine guy is going to check out where the missing power is being siphoned off, because That is what those pesky turtles have done. So that is controlled with the little switch in there. And he's going into one of my recessed subway entrances, which isn't connected to a full station in this particular case, but still has all the steps down, making the use of the lower table level to give the impression that it's going right down to somewhere very interesting indeed. So that is great, I think, as well. A really fantastic detail. Then we've got our tram system over here. It starts. Another 3D sign, which is a spinning one on a play feature. So I can spin that around, and we've got the pizza side and we've got the gelato side as well. Lovely. Very nice indeed. Another Duplo piece there. A rather oversized mech from the SSP to keep the crowd in control, with a lot of sort of action pieces there for the firing rockets. Don't know quite what he's firing on at the moment, but yeah, it's definitely a good scene. And there's even some click-it pieces there used as a sculpture. So they're bracelets and a ring in the center. Very nice as well. We've got a very interesting piece there in the rope bridge being used as part of a child's climbing frame playground. Statue there. One of my favorite small scenes of somebody losing the top of their ice cream. It's happened to all of us, and it's just not pleasant, not fun at all. We've got a certain somebody invading the City Hall building with his interesting costume. Less said about that, the better. And I try and use all of my roof spaces as well. So this one just has the bat signal and Batman on. And the caretaker as well. TV helicopter. Bus stops, all the same throughout the entire city as well. Lady on her mobility scooter, advertising on a bench. Old Zimmer frame guy, advertising for films coming up at the cinema, and a lovely bridge made out of Snap pieces, a very strange old Lego line, and another of the tram stops up there with Leicester at the stop. Then one of my favourite builds, actually, that I was quite proud of, my supermarket, because I always liked the top of the corner garage modular, but never the bottom. So I didn't buy it, but when I got Fast Food Corner qualify for the Lego Ideas, basically gave me some free sets, so I got two and changed the bottom into this lovely supermarket with full interior, absolutely packed on the inside. We've got the spilt milk scene on the outside, the kiddie ride, and all of those fresh vegetables and so on there as well. So that looks good. Another Subway 3D entrance on this line. I just love those. And the signs are absolutely perfect as well. Small bank, toy store, ice cream vendor. Lovely. And then the facades along the back. We've got another Italian restaurant. So this is just the back of buildings that have got their front elsewhere, but we've got the sign there for La Conda and some people dining there right next to all the train tracks. Girls' school with some very naughty girls in there with their catapults and throwing stones through the windows. Who would do that? And then some apartment buildings, which I try and keep out of the main city because, well, they're just a lot more boring than commercial buildings. But they're a great opportunity to do loads of scenes that you can just see, very small scenes. And my favourite there is clearly the naked man on a ledge because he was seeing the lady, and the lady's husband came home and he's brandishing a baseball bat looking for the person that he suspects is there. Then we've got a drone just being flown there with a package attached to it. President Business on a tower with his office at the top there with Kong on the top. And yeah, another nice facade there. Ari's Deli. Very nice indeed. Lots of sort of drone workers at all of the desks on the inside of that building. And then we've got the building site of the boys' school, which you can kind of just see this way around. Really have to peer around these buildings or follow the track, and you can see it there being built with loads of scaffolding on it and paint being dropped to different levels. That's really good fun. And another great big obstacle to our view, the construction crane with a lovely scene of the sleepwalker, and I love that. Another person with a teddy bear in the city and somebody trying to wake him up before he reaches the end. A small station in the corner, another hotel building, another facade residential building, and the beginning of the old town after our cinema, which I bought second hand, and it was rather in a state, and it was covered in faded bricks. So I decided to use that as a detail and have these two decorator men painting the old faded bricks to bring them up to the medium azure sort of luster of the others. So I think that is another way of using very old bricks to your advantage. Then we've got the old town starting here, and we've got some of Diagon Alley repurposed for a wine bar. Still a bookshop here, and that has got a lovely Guinness sign on the side of it with the toucan, very classic, and a classic British phone box as well. Oh, and before I forget, talking of brilliant signs, right the way over here that we missed, we've got a lovely anger management one with Hulk coming out of the wall. That's a big fig piece. Another thing I like to have weaving in and out of buildings is all of my public transport, because, well, it just looks so much better when it vanishes behind something only to appear later on, and then you get fantastic views when there's a break in the buildings before it hides behind another and then pops out. And my elevated monorail or tram system reflects real life Nottingham, and I've now got two motorised trams going around, sharing the track as they do, basically pinging back and forth on half of the track each. And that's another thing that will be a lot bigger in the new city, where they'll have a lot more track to go on. And then we've got the third dummy tram over here in blue, which basically doesn't have a motor in it, but looks like it might, and that can be waiting for its own opportunity to go at a junction. So yeah, these are absolutely great, with the lights on the front, all the passengers inside, linking the whole city together. And they give us an extra dimension in height, of course, as well. We've got the trains that kind of have to be flat on the ground, but these up in the air, and with the subway underneath as well, we've got all areas covered. Yeah, they just look absolutely fantastic. Picking up where we left off, we've got the old town, and the main feature of that is the castle. And I plan to make both the old town and the castle a lot bigger in the new city as well, because it's an area that I really enjoy, and it gives us an excuse to use some really old builds and old pieces. I've got basically a load of actors reenacting castle life for tourists, and they're even doing a mock battle outside with these glow-in-the-dark skeletal horse men on Major Oak Hill. And I just really adored bringing all of these pieces back together to make my kind of mashup of all the old castles that I used to enjoy seeing in catalogues as a kid. Never had one as a kid, so yeah, doing it as an adult is a really good way of achieving all those things that you never were able to in your younger years. So yeah, I love that castle, much higher up, and that is just yet another level of build. So we've got, sea level, the level for the harbour, the level for the square here, the main road level, and then even elevated levels as well, with our working play functions of the portcullis and drawbridge taking us to Major Oak Hill, which goes off ... into the distance. But maybe next time I'll be able to incorporate that and bring it all the way down into the rest of the old town, maybe via, or maybe not via, the beanstalk with the evil giant at the top and Jack at the bottom with his axe ready to chop that down, having stolen the golden bananas. That's how it went, isn't it, originally? Anyway, in addition to signs, we've got murals in the wall here for Mario. Elsewhere, we've got a cat and all sorts of stuff. What is it, Neon Cat? But here we've got the first pub of the town, being the Crown Inn, built up against Castle Rock with a ghostie in the dungeon there. I really like this carriage, with the carrot being used as, well, a literal carrot to get the horse to go. And unfortunately, he's left something behind, which is being, well, spread around rather than collected by the street cleaner there. Very much like that. That's just my sense of humour. More old buildings here, bringing different styles into the city, with the tourist office in this left section, and an old sort of recreation of a blacksmith on the right. So that looks really good. Somebody climbing up the mountain. Castle Green, as I've called it, with some reenactment from the Outlaws, some of my gang, and another coffee chain, and where you can get a nice kebab from Bob's Kebabs. Very nice indeed, with a spinning rotisserie as well. Really love that from the Lego movie. And then the rest of the old town proper, with Diagon Alley builds sort of converted or amended. We've got a jewellery store here with one of my favourite dynamic scenes of somebody having stolen a diamond, knocking over an old lady, pesky chap, and the old bill after him there, the pen shop, and then we've got Glove World being the converted store here, and above that we've got the nightclub of the Pink Flamingo with its wonderful signs. And I love that 3D sign. That might be my favourite 3D sign. It's quite simple in a way, but it is so effective with the arrow down and all the rest of it. Very good indeed. On that roof, we've got some parents about to meet their new bundle of joy, who's been delivered by the Stork, piloted by this guy, with all of his supply of babies and baby changing equipment, and a map, of course, and parachutes. And behind that, we've got the gym at Sweat written on the roof, with the gym on the top floor, all of the machines and so on, and then a swimming pool underneath. And that is supposedly attached to a much bigger building just out of our view, which is probably a huge hotel complex or something like that. And I just love the cobbled street of this section. This is what I want to do more of. Lots more cobbled streets with old school policemen and old lampposts and stuff and statues and things. And this one's called Apollo Arcade. And then we've got the brighter magic shop on this side with a man on stilts coming out of the door. I really like that as a touch as well. And the Paperboy. Then we've got the Palace Cinema with the premiere and all the stars coming out of their limos, queuing up to get in behind Her Majesty the Queen. Yeah, a good memory, good tribute to her. Now that we're on to King Charles, with all the fans screaming and waiting to get in themselves. Whoop, don't snag yourself on the tram. We've got the illegal wrestling den up here with the wrestling match going on. We've even got some aliens watching in the audience. You know, they're fans of wrestling too. So that's really cool. The Mayor of Brick Nottingham giving a presentation. And my favourite touch, the Mayor of Brick Derby, our neighbouring city that we compete with, which isn't as good a city, and he's very annoyed at our success. And we are unveiling the statue of me, Robin Hood Bricks, right in the middle of the train track, where we've got a car stuck between the two lines. And it's a good thing he's in a smart car, because otherwise he'd have the front or the back taken off it. Very dangerous indeed. Continuing on our line of shops, we've got a stag party at the second of our pubs, the Krusty Krab, which obviously is a SpongeBob set converted. All sorts of interesting little scenes going on there, including the seagull attack on the fish and chip purchasing rugby players. We've got a sick pig around the side who's part of the stag party. We've got the scene from Big reenacted here with the Zoltan machine making a child into an adult. So that's good. Lots of street performers on the boardwalk. Julius Caesar, a magician, one of those statues. Somebody doing some Shakespeare and so on. And then a fish and chip shop, which again has got an amazing 3D sign, if I do say so myself. A combination of some really old stickered pieces saying fish and chips and a Duplo fish. Absolutely love that. And there's even another sign actually out the back with the golden fish on. Whoop. Let's show you that. There. Very nice indeed, isn't it? I love all of that. Collecting those is, a bit of a habit now. Got the Shrimp Shack and a lovely beach scene full of dynamic people playing volleyball at the beach party, which is advertised around the whole city. People having a picnic. People checking out Baywatch Babes, much to the annoyance of their partners. A competition to build a castle, sandcastle. And another fantastic scene. This guy running for the beach out of his changing room, leaving his lady in a state of undress, visible to all. Poor girl. He's just too keen, too excited to get in the water. We've got our lifeguard station, surfers. Or another one, this is definitely a fan favourite, the red sunburnt man who has obviously forgotten his factor 50 and is lying out and probably fell asleep, and now he's gone bright red. Yeah, I like that. Dog and crab. And my mirrored bait shop Anton's, the lovely build that I had to mirror build, which means it's, just a mirror image of the one that's in the instructions, and that took absolutely ages. Not a job I enjoyed, I must say. So yeah, the fishing shack there, and behind that, making use of the curved section of the rail, our crazy golf course with 9 holes of bumpy wonder with a wheel windmill and other obstacles, ramps, jumps, all sorts of good stuff. Me and Mrs. Hood love doing those when we're on holiday, so yeah, that had to be part of our city. And an alien doing the grab a toy thing, and a sort of tribute to Toy Story there. A row of modulars. And one thing I absolutely love about this is incorporating the tunnel that is part of the detective office, and that goes all the way through to the station. Let's see if we can see that. Possibly not. Yep, there we go. There's somebody on the platform. So I really like the fact that we've sort of linked that in with the other parts of the city, so we don't have each set distinctly on its own. We have them all kind of joined together, making a bigger cohesive whole. So that is absolutely great. And above our heads, to finish this section, we've got the SSP spy balloon. Alright, well that is the end of part 1. This tour will be far too long in one section, so yeah, we'll have to split it up. But join me next time, where we'll continue where we left off. Halfway through at the station with the ridiculously long cargo train, which in a new city I'm hoping will be all in one single line on one single track. In fact, the track in this city seems relatively tiny by comparison with my plans for the new one. So yeah, more trains all at the same time, and yeah, much longer when it comes to this one. So until next time, when we continue this tour, see you. Yeah, where's everyone's favourite? The pump wagon on the end. It'll be there somewhere. Oh, there it is.